who change time for dollars. Cabinet people who trade time for dollars. What motivation says is that there's something about your chosen field of work, there's something about what you do, that you bring a passion for that goes beyond just the status or the money of your particular job. Do you see this in professional athletes? Are there professional athletes who are prostitutes? They trade time for dollars, but they don't have a passion for anything beyond the status. They want to be the highest paid player, and as soon as they are, what happens to their productivity, performance, and numbers? Drops almost every time, because there's not a passion for the game that transcends those things. They also have a propensity to pursue goals with energy and persistence. Do you know the number one problem with kids today, and you know everybody likes to complain how bad the current generation stuff is, the biggest difficulty they're facing is there's a psychological principle called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy says that you know in your heart you can do hard things. Your bike broke down as a kid, your mom and dad weren't there, and so you learned how to change a bike tire. Does that make sense? And you just put that in your repertoire. And you were out camping with the Boy Scouts, and you ran out of stuff to start the fire, so you found a way to start the fire and you make it happen. It's just kind of that you learned that you could do hard things. Our society is such. And remember when we used to go out and play as kids? You'd say goodbye to your mom in the summer at 8 a.m. and about 8 o'clock at night you'd come back. And for 12 hours you actually had to manage your own schedule. You had to negotiate, on the baseball team or whatever pickup game that you were playing. You had to navigate and find your way around town. You had to deal with mean people in cars when you were riding on your bikes. Now we drive our kids everywhere. They don't have to negotiate or manage anything, and so they significantly struggle with believing they can do hard things, because when they come up against it, they quit. And you see this in our society in general. We'll bring an idea. Well, you got RC cabinets, right? Yeah. Would it be fair to say there's some things that you guys do extremely well?
Absolutely.
And as a company, you're better than average.
Absolutely.
Because I would concur on that. Now, you're also a bigger company, right?
Right.
And are there times that you run into bureaucracy, politics, turf wars, stuff like that?
Sure.
What someone that's really good with this emotional intelligence skill is good at is when they start bumping up against a wall, like, oh, hey, that's Bob, man. Don't mess with Bob on that one. I'm just telling you, don't go there. All right? It's good stuff, huh? But what these guys will do is they'll continue to stay with it instead of bumping up against it once or time and quitting. That's what it means by a propensity to pursue goals with energy and with persistence. They stay with it till you get the results you want. You don't do a lot of settle for. How you see this, number one, a strong drive to achieve. It's about the result, not about the personality. Second, they're very optimistic even in the face of failure. If it's that whole, you guys have heard Edison's thing, every time he failed, he didn't get discouraged. He said, I just found another way not to invent the light bulb. Hey, I found another way not to talk about Bob about changing this price. And they have intense organizational commitment. They have such passion for the work that they do and the company that they work for. They are willing to put in extra time, energy, and effort to overcome the dysfunction, the politics, the turf war, because I love RC. I love this company. I want this to work. I love my company, and I may be small, but I want it. Arizona Cabinets, right? This is my baby. I love this thing. And so you will find a way to adapt and overcome and not say, well, it was a good run for 20 years. I guess we're done now. Are there companies in our business who did that in the last 18 months? The real role of leadership, and I believe deeply in this. Edgar Schein is out of the University of Chicago, and I want you to consider what he's saying here. He said, we've studied leadership for years. There's thousands of books written on leadership and thousands of articles that are written every single year. Courses taught in every major university. He said, I think there's a possibility that the most underemphasized study of leadership out there is that the only thing that managers do of any real importance is create and manage culture. Do you have a culture of innovation? Do you have a culture of creativity? Are people wiser? Are they healthier? Are they feeling better for having had you manage them? And I will share with you over the time as we've measured this, there's a great organizational cultural tool that I use in my business. It's called the Denison Organizational Cultural Survey. It's about 60 questions about what it's like to work in your organization. People cooperate, people help each other, people have the right skills to do the jobs they do, and it ties directly with financial returns. So I can look at a thing and I can tell you what your return on assets are going to be, what your return on sales are going to be. I can tell you what your ability to gain new market share is going to be like. I can tell you what your employee turnover and stuff is going to be like. And if you want to move financial numbers, change the culture. And that's what this measures. It was the first cultural survey that tied directly to bottom line financial numbers. And so very powerful tool. And that's something that we notice when we get in here. When we turn it and I present the results of this survey, the management response is almost always, well, I don't know how accurate that is. You know what, I think the employees were having a bad day. We did this on Tuesday, right? Tuesdays are always bad here. Or, you know, this was a tough year. We're just coming off a recession, and, you know, I think everybody's kind of felt, you know, we made staff cuts last month, and, you know, I think that really affected it. You know what I think really affected it? Your management and the leadership of the organization, because you have created and managed a culture that has some positive aspects, but also has some aspects that are costing you money. But there's no line item in the financial statement that said manager attitude allowance, $184,000. Inability to get order entry to get a clue adjustment, $78,000. Okay? Kind of get where I'm going on this one. This is a good business, by the way. Fourth key is empathy. This is the one that gets overlooked a lot. And it's interesting because the other three I've just presented you are real obvious, clear, upfront. I call them power skills. You got them, you see them, you feel them, they resonate. This one is more of one that you don't notice while it's happening. It's as you go away. Like you notice people that, right, if I'm talking to you and I lose my temper and I don't have self-regulation, you feel it right now. When I'm empathetic, you tend not to notice it while I'm doing it, but when you walk away, you're like, wow, that was kind of good. I like talking to Chris. Or, hey, you know what? I really thought Chris was going to hand me my butt, but he got it. Do you understand what I mean by empathy? It's qualitatively different. I would describe it this way: the ability to understand the emotional makeup of other people. Go back to yesterday, in that color code thing, if people aren't like us, they're either lazy or you got it. And we feel that way. Empathy says you're not stupid, you're different. What makes you up? What drives you? What constitutes you? I call it emotional alchemy. What are all the pieces and parts that make up who you are, that make up what goes on? And I have the ability to see that and then respond to it. Because some of you can see it. Some of you are very gifted. I look and it's Kristen? Kristen. I look at Kristen and go, man, she is one messed up woman. I do not understand how she made it this far in life. I don't even think she can feed herself when she gets home. And you may be right. She may be having a lot of emotional problems. It may be really difficult. That's not empathy, okay? That's assessment, but it's not empathy. Empathy says, I understand the emotional makeup. I get why you're so scattered today or for the past month. I get why, you're having such a hard time focusing and coming through. I get why you never want to go back and work with a couple of these sales guys. And so I develop a skill in treating people according to their emotional reactions. If you, Wade, if you walk in and start yelling at me, Chris, I can't believe you know what is going on with this? Now, first, if I'm empathetic, what should I understand?
He's having a bad day.
Yeah. And if my intelligent response is, hey, back off! Are we going to be real productive here? No, not even close. And ineffective leaders function on the principle of fairness. Effective leaders function on the principle of respect. He should respect me, and he didn't by coming in here. But he's probably upset, crazy things going on. Fairness says, hey, yell at me, I'll yell at you. Okay, hey, you want to do this? I can out-yell you, no problem, man. Bring it on. Effective management says, wow, I've got a valuable employee, someone who's usually good, doesn't often do this, obviously something's going wrong. I want to meet him where he's at and bring him to a better place, not stand where it's comfortable for me and yell at him. I'll give you, jot this in your notes. This is probably the most valuable tool for measuring your effectiveness as a leader I can give you. Good leaders or good managers judge themselves by their results and their people by their intentions. So very effective managers or leaders, mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, business owners, judge themselves by their results and their people by their intentions. Ineffective or mediocre managers judge themselves by their intentions and their people by their results. Yeah, well, I know this didn't work, but this is what I wanted to do and I had to go through it, but you